Welcome to the second session with Fireside Questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Today I've prepared a great topic for you, your favorite one. We're going to chat about AI,
Great.
and I have a bunch of questions I wanted to ask you. I'm going to start straight with the first question, which is what is the coolest AI tool we've tested so far? Can you share a bit more about our journey at Hop Online?
It's hard to pick just one. I'll run you through some of the popular ones that we're using. Of course, the obvious one is ChatGPT. And I think there was a quantum leap from GPT 3.5 to 4. And I'm really, really eager to get my hands on GPT 5 when it comes out. So, as of the date of this recording, we're in early April. Probably expecting GPT-5 to drop hopefully by the summer, but it's anybody's guess. I think that's going to be another major leap forward in capabilities. So ChatGPT's got to be at the top of the list. Simply has to be. A close second is Gemini, and I think the reason is that Gemini seem to be lagging, and they have closed the gap quite a lot with Gemini Pro, and in particular, now there's Gemini Advanced. So we are paying for ChatGPT and Gemini, which are both, I think it's the $20 a month each. And Gemini has now a 1.5 version of Pro that I think we haven't tested fully yet. But to me, this is the two-horse race that's really exciting because they keep their
Catching
neck and
ahead.
neck, and one pulls out ahead and the other catches up. Aside from those tools, there's a bunch of others. Probably the one that I'm having the most fun with right now is called HeyGen, which is it's an AI video tool.
They just got some investment, right?
I think they did. I think they raised about 40 million recently, and they're probably one of the hottest AI video companies around right now. And they have something called personalized video, which allows you to shoot a video and then create an AI avatar of yourself, of your likeness, your voice, and then you can actually insert variables into a script so that you can scale out personalized videos of your avatar using a script. So I can say in my script, I can say, "Hey Terry, hope everything is going well over at Hop Online, and I'd love to speak to you again. I hope life in Sofia is treating you well." So
Mhm.
I've used your name and your company. I could have mentioned that you're a CMO and that you live in Sofia. So these custom variables can be inserted into the script, and the AI avatar can read out those unique scripts at scale. That's just amazing, really, to think about. I am a little bit cautious about giving what is really a startup company the green light to use my likeness and my voice. I really hope that never gets misused or into the wrong hands. But again, like we spoke about earlier, it is about assessing the trade-offs of risk and reward. I realize I'm taking a little bit of a risk and giving my likeness to a fairly unknown startup, but the reward is that now we can do something really, really cool
At mass scale.
at scale that we've never been able to do before.
Mhm.
So HeyGen is very cool. I think Perplexity is really cool, and Perplexity is doing something unique in that they seem to be merging the future of search experience with AI and with chat. So with search, historically, you've had a user interface where you type in or you speak in a search term, which is not always natural. It's not always the way that you would speak naturally. On the generative AI side, it's more of a chat experience where you are looking for one specific answer. And Perplexity is doing a great job of merging these, and I think even maybe giving Google some ideas of their future search generative experience. But when we look at the whole landscape of tools, I do think it's hard to select a special purpose tool that is still built on OpenAI's LLM or Google's LLM or maybe even Anthropic's
Mhm.
LLM with Claude.
I really want to get my hands on this one.
Yeah, me too.
They should put it out in Europe,
Yeah.
hopefully soon.
But I think it's best to go straight to those tools themselves and use them.
Mhm.
There's a lot of now tools that are content generation tools that are built on top of the LLMs. The names that come to mind are Jasper
Mhm.
AI,
Copy AI as
Copy
well.
AI is one of them. There's Surfer SEO is pretty interesting. So what they're doing is bringing in some of the keyword research capabilities of SEO tools
Hmm.
and combining that with the content production that a ChatGPT can give you, or maybe a Claude or whatever. And that's interesting, but I think still, why not go right to the source and get really good at using ChatGPT directly? So that's what we're
For me,
betting on right
yeah,
now.
for me they are the foundation. So you need these tools, and then you can deep dive into other tools to test. But you need
Yeah.
to be able to crack these first before moving to other
I do feel like
option.
what happened in SaaS a few years ago, and it's still happening, is a massive consolidation of tools. So when probably in the maybe the 2010s was this huge proliferation of SaaS tools. You had tools that could do very, very specific things really well. And marketers and beyond raced out and built these huge SaaS toolboxes with a dozen or more different unique tools. But then it became kind of hard to manage that toolbox, and not
Mm,
all the tools would talk to each other the right way. And now there's a big consolidation of SaaS into these all-in-one types of
solutions,
SaaS
yeah.
products, like ClickUp is a
Hmm.
great example. ClickUp allowed us to merge our project management tool with time tracking. And now we have our CRM inside of ClickUp. We have our applicant tracking system inside of ClickUp. We have our OKRs inside of ClickUp. These used to be all separate tools. So I think that consolidation, I think that the proliferation of AI tools should learn the lesson of SaaS.
Hmm.
And marketers like us should be a little bit cautious to race out and try to get our hands on all of these tools when fundamentally we have the large language models. We have access to the large language models themselves.
Yeah.
And if we're good at doing things like prompting, I think that ChatGPT, Gemini, maybe Claude is good, possibly be all we need in terms of our AI toolbox.
Yeah.
And I think that the AI companies want it to be that way too. I think that OpenAI, when they come out with ChatGPT 5, they want this multimodal capability, which Google already claims to have with Gemini, which means I can use it for text generation, I can use it for code generation, I can generate images,
Yeah,
I
I
can
think it's
generate
already happening
videos.
to some extent with DALI, for example. It's now
Yeah.
part of ChatGPT, so
Right. The multimodal capabilities are merged all into single
yeah,
interface, which
for
I think
sure.
is definitely the right approach.
Okay, on to the next
Long
question.
answer there. I know
Long
I
answer.
did long.
Yeah. What issues have we encountered so far with AI testing? We just mentioned a bunch of tools, and we are still exploring other options. We want to make sure that we're staying on top of the newest trends. So, what do you think are the things that we are struggling as an agency, and probably other companies might be as well?
I would say it's been the tools outside of ChatGPT and Gemini have been mostly a disappointment, I
Hmm.
have to say. And that is because the promise of these tools isn't quite delivered just yet. And I'll give you a few examples. We are definitely looking for a tool right now that can replace our reporting suite.
Hmm.
All of our analytics reporting KPI dashboards are built on Looker Data Studio, which is an amazing tool. And it's hard to beat that, but you still have to build out those dashboards manually, and that takes a lot of work. And those are not necessarily interactive enough. It would be great if people on our teams and our clients could actually have conversations with the data.
Hmm.
Ask a question, well, why, what might happen to this trend in return on ad spend if we reduce our investment in Facebook next quarter by this amount? Now we're getting into the world of predictive analytics. And we're looking for a tool, and I think that this area will keep developing fast, but we haven't found it yet. We're looking for a tool that can build out dashboards, ingest data automatically, build out beautiful dashboards, and then allow an interactivity so that we can chat with the data and we can
Hmm.
get answers just like we get answers from ChatGPT. So far, we've been disappointed with the field, but it's still really early days.
Yeah.
Another one I would say would be image generation and video. And I think a lot of people are testing these. We've got DALI built into ChatGPT. They have introduced Sora, which looks really, really impressive.
Hmm.
Google Gemini introduced something. What was the name of it?
The alternative, yeah, I don't know it.
It's a video generation tool. It looks pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Um, I think that this year will be the year of AI video. and that's really exciting. So we want to test everything related to multimedia, rich media generation, not necessarily because we're going to grab an image and immediately drop it into a campaign, but it's going to unlock our creative juices. And you go from having a blank canvas to having some
A
concept.
brainstorming buddy.
Yeah, brainstorming buddy. And you have a concept that you can work with, and then maybe you take that into Photoshop and refine it, or maybe you build something from the inspiration that you get from that image or from that
Mm,
video. But those tools are going to keep getting better and better. I'm trying to think, what other tools have we been testing? We've tested another set of tools to build presentations.
mhm.
Tome or
Tone,
Tome
yes.
is one of them. Uh, I'm a little bit iffy on that. I
Mm.
think,
Still not great, I think.
yeah,
It's work in progress.
and I've been testing Google's Gemini for Work, or I think they're calling it. Well, it's is it Gemini Workspace? It's built into
Yes.
Google
Mm,
for Work or your Google Workspace, and within slides they can recommend or they can build out images for your slides. To me, this is still a little bit clunky, and I haven't actually used any of their AI generated images in any of my slides yet.
mhm.
But it's not really that different than going to Dali or going to Midjourney. It's going to be interesting to see if Midjourney remains as a standalone tool, or if it gets scooped up
Yeah.
and really merged into one of the big players. Like maybe Anthropic is going to buy Midjourney and build that in.
Yeah.
So overall, when I think about the set of tools that are available, I think, what can we do for strategy and brainstorming, which right now ChatGPT I think does a pretty good job of. What can we do with ad copy? So what can we generate short form headlines and subheadlines that are really punchy for ads? What can we do with medium term copy like email copy? Landing page copy is another example. What can we do with longer form copy like a 1,000 word blog post?
Mhm.
So I think across the spectrum of written content, from very short form headlines all the way through to longer form blog posts. And then I think about, what are we showing our clients? We're showing them presentations in Google Slides today,
Mm.
and we're showing them reports that are built in Looker Data Studio. Can that get better? Can our teams work faster? Can we even impress clients with a more interactive experience with the presentations and with the KPI dashboards?
Mhm. If you have to summarize in, let's say, a step-by-step guide on what companies should be adopting to kind of start out and explore AI, what would you say are the essential tools that every company should be looking at
Mhm.
for their marketing team?
In terms of a step-by-step guide, I don't think that there is such a process that I could prescribe right now. The great thing is that all of these tools, that everyone has access to these tools. There are free versions, but even for $20 a month, you can get the best version of ChatGPT. For $20 a month, you can get the latest version of Gemini Advanced or Gemini Ultra. Those two would be the starting point. So if I were to lay out step one would be, no matter what, make sure that everyone in your organization can use the paid pro versions of both ChatGPT and Gemini today. A lot of big companies don't allow this. And maybe one of the advantages of being in a smaller company is that you're not going to have the compliance and risk and legal hurdles that maybe restrict people in larger companies that can't access those tools.
Mhm.
So the barrier to entry is very low. The cost of acquiring the basic tool set is very low. For less than $50 a month, you'll get GPT-4 and later, soon, hopefully GPT-5, and you'll get Gemini.
Mhm.
And outside of that, step two would be to really force yourself to try to use these tools every day with different use cases. I don't think that there is really a better way. We haven't found, there are a lot of training courses out there. There's some good ones, but I still think nothing really substitutes having a raw curiosity and thinking with every single task that you do in marketing. Stop yourself for a second and think, could AI do this for me? Could AI help me do this faster? Could AI take this whole thing in a different direction that I haven't
Mm.
even thought of yet? And I guess that's step two, is to remain curious and to test every single day. If you get into ChatGPT and you see that your history, you haven't tested any prompts in the last few days, it's time to start prompting again.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great libraries being built with prompts. We're trying to build our own library, but ultimately, the prompt engineering shouldn't be a competitive advantage. And
Hmm.
pretty soon,
It will be a must, I think.
yeah, but pretty soon, I think you'll be able to prompt with more natural language.
Hmm.
And being great at prompting won't be an advantage for you.
Hmm.
Today, there is a role of prompt engineering. This is a popular role, and
Yeah.
people that are good at this now can command really big salaries. I don't think that's going to last for much longer, actually. The tools themselves, it would be like saying, I'm really great at Google searching because I know how to write and craft a search query better
Hmm.
than most people, so I can generate better results in
Yeah.
Google. Well, Google doesn't want that to be the case. They want to democratize search so that they can understand what is the intent of the user, no matter the sophistication of the query.
Hmm.
And the chat tools are going to be the same. I don't know if that's still answering your question, but
I guess to some extent.
mhm,
I think one necessary step that every company should have in mind is to build a process for testing new tools
mhm,
as part of their AI discovery journey, because I think that's one of the challenging points for us internally as an agency as well. Is if we want to test out a new tool, who should be testing it, for how long, should we notify the clients, what are the risks of testing it, pros and cons. Just have a clear idea of what the plan is before starting, because then
yeah.
it makes it much easier to evaluate the different tools. For me personally, I think one of the main challenges is the vast amount of available tools. So I
Mhm.
really think having that process from the start is what makes a big difference in how quickly you can actually find the right tools for your own business.
I think the key is to form an AI council and maybe I'll go back and refine my answer a little bit in
Okay.
terms of step one, because really step one should be to form an AI council, and that should be a cross-functional team. This is not just a group of marketers, but have someone from marketing, sales, maybe HR, operations, some people from the product side, maybe have a developer or some coders in there, depending on what kind of organization you have, but try to build as cross-functional of a team as possible. And that's going to be your testing team. And one of their main responsibilities is to test tools and then to provide feedback back to the council about whether or not we as an organization can benefit from this tool, or maybe our customers can benefit from the tool or from the output of the tool.
Hmm.
So actually, I'll go back and refine my answer because that's step one.
Yeah.
Form an AI council and put the tools into the hands of those people. If you're not ready to give broad access to a set of tools to the whole organization for risk reasons or for other reasons, at least do it for a small group of an AI council.
Sounds like a good answer to me.
Yeah. That
Yes.
that's what we did, and I have no regrets about it. We've got a team of about 7
Yeah.
people
Hmm.
across touching different areas. Then we get together every couple of weeks and we have great conversations, and people are reporting about, I tested this and have a great insight. We had this hypothesis, but this failed at doing this. This tool is kind of overhyped. We should leave it aside, and now we want to test something else.
Yeah.
Uh, but those kind of meetings are really crucial, and that gives us the structure that we need to figure out how to go about this journey of AI transformation.
To wrap up this conversation, I want to finish with a broader question, which is what do you think is the AI's development that will really change the industry in the upcoming months? I'm not going for a year because I think the space is quite dynamic. What would really change marketing as we know it?
I do think it's already happening, but I probably suspect that the next version of ChatGPT, ChatGPT 5, will be an absolute game changer for marketers. And what's really going to happen within marketing agencies and within all marketing teams is AI is going to level the playing field of skill sets. If you have this classic T-shaped marketing skill set, which means that you have pretty good capability across lots of disciplines, but in one specific discipline, you're really, really good. You might be great at content SEO. You might be great at conversion rate optimization. You might be an absolute ninja in paid social. That's
Mm.
your vertical. Excuse me. I think what AI is doing is it's flattening that T shape and it's kind of making all of us general marketers.
Mhm.
So if your competitive advantage as a marketer is your vertical expertise in some area, I do think AI is going to threaten that. AI is going to turn it's empowering marketers to be good at a lot of things that they previously needed to specialize in.
Mhm.
If you were if you're a great copywriter and that's your thing, well now maybe the person who does technical SEO can suddenly produce amazing headlines.
Yeah.
So there is a democratization happening. There's a leveling of the playing field across these skill sets. And marketers and marketing teams need to be aware of this. And we as an agency need to be aware of this, that this degree of specialization that we've built now is going to get diluted and it's going to flatten.
Mhm.
And a role like a what we call a client success manager, which is kind of like a generalist, a
Mhm.
strategist, and an account manager, now they have the tools to create amazing landing page copy. They have the tools to build amazing images that we can drop into Instagram ads and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
They can do they can produce pretty awesome blog posts on their own without the help of the content strategist, let's say. That's going to happen. So the ability as a marketer to cross over to these different disciplines is going to become easier and easier. So if you're thinking about a career in marketing today with AI, you shouldn't necessarily think that I need to specialize in one vertical. You might have interest in one vertical over another, but with AI, you should be trying to get good at everything. And the AI team of the future will be a smaller team that can cross these disciplines and they can do everything.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess that's a good answer also to what Sam Altman was saying. For 95% of marketers will of marketing will disappear, and I think that's what's happening. And these 5% will be exactly the people that are able to jump from one discipline to another and are more generalists, but then also know
Mhm.
how to deep dive whenever needed in a certain area.
Yeah, that was an infamous quote, and it
Mhm.
really rattled the whole marketing world. I think it was a bit misunderstood. I think what he was trying to say is that right now, if 95% of the time that we as marketers spend is on executing our ideas, working within tools to create words or images or videos or code or something else, that amount of time is going to greatly shrink. So if that time shrinks, it frees us up to do what
Mm,
actually? Well, it frees us up to be more strategic, to spend more time maybe refining our audiences or exploring new audiences or thinking of different strategies or simply being much more creative. And I think that's what he meant by that quote. It's not necessarily that the number of people is going to be reduced by a certain amount. It's that the time spent will shift to the large majority of execution
yeah.
to a larger majority of strategic thinking and creativity. And
Yeah.
that should be really exciting for
I would
marketers.
say yes, from repetitive tasks to creativity, I'm all in.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you for the second session. I think we can wrap it up here, and let's see how it goes with the third one.
excellent.
Awesome.
Thanks, Terry.